What an absolute freak of nature Brian Cage is. Like a horse with human features.
Don't let his size fool you, though. He's just as agile as any of the cruiserweights you'll see.
Absolutely.
About 5 times as strong.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I know that he's been bandied about by Matt Sydal as possibly a future X Division #1 contender. Interesting to think about him in that light.
Well, you know, we were talking to Sydal about that. It's not necessarily the X Division does not equal cruiserweight division.
No, not at all. Size is irrelevant in the X Division. It's more about the competitor and the style.
It's a matchup I'd pay to see, Brian Cage and Matt Sydal. As Brian Cage waits for his opponent tonight.
It's really hard to look at Eddie Edwards these days and not think about the horrific baseball bat incident with Sami Callihan busting his orbital socket. I mean, to see Eddie Edwards back in action so soon after and just as vicious as ever.
Doesn't seem to be any worse for the wear as well.
No, that's...
You're going to try to take you back to what happened to Eddie Edwards a couple of months back. Sami Callihan, he had set up a chair on Edwards' chest and went to, whack the chair.
With the baseball
With
bat.
the baseball bat, and the chair basically slid out of the way.
Right, and then Sami Callihan broke Eddie Edwards' orbital socket with a baseball bat. Brutal, just brutal if you can go find the photos online. But he has got some big competition here in the form of Brian Cage. I've been looking forward to this match all day long, ever since it was officially announced yesterday that these two are going to be going heads up. Because Brian Cage, he didn't know who his opponent was going to be up until a few days ago. It was a teased mystery opponent.
Brian Cage, tremendous strength. And he said a freak of nature. I mean, all you got to do is look at it.
Oh, absolutely.
I was talking to him earlier today about his diet. He's one of these guys that he goes on the road, he has to bring the big cooler pack with him.
Yeah, he's got to have his own stuff everywhere.
That's right. The meal prep and eating multiple times a day.
Yeah. Well, you got to maintain that body. You got to eat several times a day. You got to keep feeding that beast if you're going to keep a physique like that.
I said to him, isn't that a pain lugging that thing around everywhere? He said, hey, people come up to me and they say, I want to look like you. Well, this is part of it.
I think that Eddie Edwards may have the advantage here. As we were saying, Brian Cage didn't know who his opponent was going to be until a few days ago. Eddie Edwards is, of course, known he's going to be facing Brian Cage. He's had a chance to prepare. He's had a chance to strategize. Brian Cage is being thrown Eddie Edwards here relatively last minute, and this is a guy you need some time to get ready for.
Eddie Edwards, 6 foot, about 214. And it's bulldozed right there by Cage. A 34-year-old out of Boston, Massachusetts. Eddie Edwards, you heard it, former Impact champion. Cage sends Edwards for the ride, puts on the brakes. And now Cage dumped to the outside.
Cage trying to get back in, slipped a little bit there, gave Eddie Edwards an opening. Excellent job keeping his eye on Brian Cage at all times. Oh, back first, right there onto that ring apron. Hardest part of the ring. Real bad for your spine.
Eddie Edwards, former two-time Ring of Honor Tag Team champ, along with Davey Richards. Might have just gotten his throat crushed after being dropped across the top of the guardrail there. And now a knife-edge chop by Brian Cage.
More like a frying pan chop. Every part of this guy is just gigantic. Those big hands coming across your chest there, that does a lot of damage.
What I was trying to make with the championships, that Eddie Edwards is nobody to I guess, snooze on. He's held championships at probably everywhere but WWE.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, former Impact World Champion. I mean, this is a guy who knows how to go to the top.
Oh! Hold on here, trying to put away Brian Cage. Can he get a quick one? No.
Like I was saying, Eddie Edwards is a guy who knows how to get to the top of the mountain. He knows what it is to be the man inside of a promotion, as he was in Impact Wrestling there. And that gives him a little bit of a psychological advantage over a guy like Brian Cage, who is working to get to that point in his career right now.
Brian Cage, 6 foot, 265, and incredible freakish strength on display moments ago. Kick out by Edwards.
Everything's bigger with this guy. I just can't do a suplex into the ring. He's got to springboard you off the middle rope.
I've seen him lift people from the floor.
Chuck him right in.
No, and do a suplex over the ropes.
Insane. Yeah, this guy is just really only getting let loose on the wrestling world here in the past couple of years. I am as scared as anybody to find out what Brian Cage is going to become when he's had more time to grow as a wrestler, as a man inside this business.
Oh! Imagine the whiplash on that clothesline, and Cage could put it away right now. No. Edwards kicks out at 1, and
Edwards looks visibly shaken.
Well, of course he's visibly shaken. You run into the bulldozer that's Brian Cage.
No, thank you. No, do not want.
Oh, was that a tooth that went flying?
I also saw that. Something shot off into the crowd there.
I really hope that was a stick of gum. Covered. And Edwards again out at 1. And a lot of times guys are chewing gum, or they'll have a cough drop or something in the ring, and you take one of those back elbows. From where we sit, we can't tell what is it a tooth? Is it a chiclet? What is it?
Could have been a tooth. I mean, you take a back elbow from a guy like Brian Cage. Don't be surprised if you lose a couple teeth.
Cage going for the suplex. Edwards reverses. Nice go behind by Cage.
A little bit of a one-upsmanship game here between the two.
Boot to the gut, Brian Cage. What's this going to be? Oh, reversed beautifully by Edwards.
That is so hard to do when you have a guy like Brian Cage just so ready to execute on a move, to feel the momentum's going against you, and at that right moment, be able to switch it around and throw him to the mat. Well done by Eddie Edwards right there.
How resilient is Eddie Edwards?
Like I said, Rich, this man got hit in the face with a baseball bat.
Wait a minute. Brian Cage looking for the buckle bomb. No. Reversed by Edwards. And now Eddie wind it up. Full steam ahead, suicide dive.
Right into that guardrail on the outside, and these are steel guardrails. That is unforgiving right there. These aren't these big padded guardrails you got on the outside. This is raw.
Brian Cage flat on his back.
You know, we call this warrior wrestling, and it's because of the warriors that go out there like this. Guys like Brian Cage and Eddie Edwards putting it all on the line here. Again, this is the debut show. This is the place you come and you make your statement be known. Both men right here, I'm sure, would love to get a victory here on the debut. Oh my God!
Running knee right to the jaw. Edwards to put it away. And Cage gets the shoulder up.
I thought that was it. I mean, there was a loud thud right there when you heard that knee from Eddie Edwards crash right into the forehead of Brian Cage. Brian Cage is now the one who looks a little dazed and confused. Big boot from Eddie Edwards.
Caught by Brian Cage. Wow. There's that freakish strength in Cage.
Wow.
Cover.
That is insanity. Eddie Edwards, 200 plus pounds, Brian Cage picking him out of the air like he's Space Monkey grabbing a banana, you know? The fans right now are clapping so loudly I can literally feel the ground shaking underneath me. They are so invested in which of these two men is going to be able to pick up the victory.
What's Cage gonna mine here? Oh my God!
Turns him inside out.
Cover! And again, Edwards powers out.
How much more do you got to throw at these two to keep somebody down? Like being on a roller coaster ride there, doing the big old flip the way Brian Cage came at Eddie Edwards.
It was almost like a Steiner screwdriver, wasn't it?
A little bit. Shades of. And oh my God. What'd you say, 260 plus pounds Brian Cage is?
Going to the top, and Eddie Edwards sensing the matchup could be in jeopardy. Goes to the top into Frankensteiner. Speak it off, cover. Cage out of 2.
Absolutely picture perfect Frankensteiner off the top rope there. You got to feel good if you're Eddie Edwards now. You know that Brian Cage has been taking a lot of punishment from you here for a little while, possibly softened up a little bit.
Cage will give her that short arm lariat. Edwards fighting back, chops to the gigantic chest of Brian Cage. Oh, going for the discus lariat. Caught with a series of kicks by Edwards. And now Cage with a discus lariat. That's gonna be enough.
That's gotta be it. He's gotta get up though. He's gotta get on top of Eddie Edwards right now. I don't disagree. Eddie Edwards is out cold, but unless you can get on top of him for that pinfall, you're giving him too much time to recuperate here.
I'm not even going to begin to guess where the count is right now.
About halfway through at 5 counts.
Is it about 5?
6.
Crowd chanting one thing, referees on another number.
Fans here at Warrior Wrestling, they kind of go to the beat of their own drum, Rich.
Both men able to fight, so the match will continue.
Just desperation here as these two men are trying to get to their feet.
You really calling Brian Cage desperate?
Well, look at them right now. They're both digging down deep in order to find any energy right now to be able to throw those big hands, those big forearms into each other's faces.
Edwards winds up. Cage answers.
I'm a little surprised Eddie Edwards was able to win out there for a moment in a brawling contest, but it doesn't look like it was long lasted.
Blue Thunder bomb by Edwards. And Cage gets the shoulder up into him. My God, how did Edwards pull that out of nowhere?
The fans here at Warrior Wrestling absolutely beside themselves. That was not enough to put away Brian Cage. Eddie Edwards is saying, you know what? I got to put the sword through the heart of the beast here. I got to finish this right now.
Eddie Edwards.
Like a wolf stalking his prey.
Caught by Brian Cage, fireman's carry.
F5!
Plants him, cover. Cage for the win, and no! 2.5, Edwards somehow stays in it.
Wow. Brian Cage not wasting any time, immediately going for what looks like a vertebreaker here.
Gonna be the gory special.
Oh, never mind.
Oh!
Oh my God. Wow. The way that Brian Cage Brian Cage was able to manipulate the body of Eddie Edwards to get him in that move. I mean, like a kid playing with Play-Doh, right? Just wrapped him around his body, had him right where he needed to be, and just drilled him with that Weapon X finisher of his. Incredible display, incredible showcase here for Brian Cage. Eddie Edwards, too, heck of a competitor. Hell of a fight here between these two men tonight.